Today we're talking about Hatteras AC power distribution panels. You may have one on each side, probably. On the motor yacht style like this, you'll have them towards the front and on each side of the pilot house. On the sport fish style boats, they'll be at the back in the cockpit on either side, like on ours. This is what you have on the sport fish style. They're inside the cockpit on either side. This is our starboard side. You can see over there on our port side, we have the same thing. So with any of these 240 volt plugs, always make sure that you rotate to the left and then remove when you take them out. So we always turn the breaker off on the dock when we connect these. And obviously, the way your power distribution is set up, you can't have the generator and the shore power connected at once. There's various interlocks that protect from that. So just make sure you line up. You can see on the plug that there's two of the pins have a notch to them, and as long as you line those up, it should be easy. Just remember to turn it to the right. It's good to keep a little bit of silicone or dielectric grease on these pins so that they don't corrode or get hot. Just go in and give it a good turn to the right. You can tell it's locked in place. The other thing you want to do is periodically turn the power off, disconnect the cords, and check your fuses. These are 50 amp fuses, and see how nice this comes out. It's because we've already serviced this. But you'll have an FRN R50 fuse for each of the hot legs in here. And these can be pulled out and serviced as needed. There's a little bit of silicone grease on it. That's good. Goes in nice and easy that way. And when you put them in, go all the way in till they stop, and then just crack it loose. Just back it off so you don't have it freeze up in there on you. And you're good to go. Don't forget to also service your plug. These are brand new, but very quickly you can see these are totally dry, so these will start corroding, and as they get hot spots on them from where they touch in the outlet, it's good to just put a little bit of silicone or dielectric grease on this to prevent corrosion and prevent hot spots. All right, here's something interesting about Hatteras boats that a lot of people don't realize is all the Hatteras vessels, they use AC isolation transformers. Now these are pretty neat because you can actually take a single phase 120 volt input and give yourself 240 output. Of course, you can't load it too heavily, but it allows you to have that connection through this transformer, and it also provides a neutral isolation built in. These are hidden, interestingly enough, under the seat of the galley area. They may be underneath the galley floor in the motor vessels. Okay, this is our AC power distribution. You'll see this on nearly all Hatteras. They had the same company build the distribution systems, which is, and they're pretty nicely made. But it's nice because they're familiar. If you've seen one, you've seen most of them. They work similarly. You can see here that we have shoreline number 3 plugged in and available. It's just over 60 hertz, and it's about 240 volts. And you see the interlock here that allows us to have that shoreline breaker on, but you can't turn on generator number 1 to the same source because of this interlock. You'll sometimes see a sliding cover, but there should always be an interlock between your two sources of power within the same input. We have a whole second input over here, and this one allows you to run a generator or a separate source or a separate cord if you need that much power. We're running everything off of source 1. So down at the bottom, you select what powers each AC distribution panel. We're on source 1 for all 3. So you can come in with 2 sources, 2 generators, and then mix them down here any way you like. And then of course, here is AC distribution 1 and 2. Number 3 is down in the engine room. Here's the AC distribution number 3 we mentioned, and there's actually a small added panel over there that we're not using. Generator number 1 is newer. It's a 21 kilowatt phaser generator. And generator number 2 is an original, still hanging in there, an Onan 20 kilowatt. Cram myself back here behind the starboard engine. I'm working on the batteries today, doing a little terminal cleanup with the trusty old battery terminal brush, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, for the post and the ends. But I'm using this, I really like this CRC dielectric grease. So once the posts are clean, I just wipe a little film on the post, but also in just a small area around it. This really seems to help with any cheese buildup that you get here, any kind of corrosion. And then I wipe the threads of the bolt and behind it and the inside of the connection, and I'll do all these and build our string back up, check the voltage. For the cell waters, we have one of those pitchers. We'll show you a picture of. You can get it in any auto parts store, but they're nice. You put your distilled water in and just press the end down, and it lets the water in without spilling anywhere, and it won't overfill it as well. But anyway, that's today's project. Okay, also typical Hatteras, you've got the battery disconnect panel here and a distribution underneath. We've got the engine power disconnect and the actual ship service disconnect. So most of the DC systems run off the port bank. That's normal. Over on the starboard side, you have the engine disconnect and you have your generator starting battery disconnect. That's pretty much standard for all these Hatteras. This is the primary DC panel. You can see here we have a battery condition monitor. Also, you can go to the left side for port and right side respectively for starboard battery condition. We have a secondary DC panel in the engine room and a tertiary panel up in the pilot house. Here's our DC service number 2, both here on the wall of the engine room. This is our pilot house DC distribution, and we don't have an AC distribution in the pilot house. There's only a couple circuits up here. That covers most of the electrical system.